for having peer-reviewed journals. We are supposed to be ready for being reviewed, the manuscript. So our manuscript is supposed to be ready for being peer-reviewed. It means that good journals, especially international journals, will have their own board of reviewers. And this board of reviewers will review the quality of our manuscript, so that it is worth publishing in their international journal. Okay. And then before we talk about international publications discourse, then we should discuss for a while a bit philosophical perspective, a philosophical perspective about getting ourselves published. So why publish? So why we should get published? So this is beyond actually the game of publish or perish, the publish or perish game. So what does it mean by the publish or perish game? Maybe this is not applicable in our context, because even though academicians in this context in our country do not publish, their career will not be perished. Ini berlakunya di overseas universities, in which the competition is very tight, in which the working contract for lecturers is evaluated per year. There is no such permanent positions in overseas universities. Jadi professors in overseas universities, they are also evaluated annually based on their publications and research performance in a year. But this doesn't really apply in Indonesia. However, beyond this game, we should consider this as our personal and intellectual growth. And so to me, publications is also about is about personal and intellectual growth. And it is also about a vibrant professional development. It's also about scholarly contributions and expertise recognitions. However, if people recognize my fields, for example, or if people consider that my publications to some extent contribute to the context of the study and to the body of knowledge, so that is a bonus. Itu bonus aja. Beyond this, we should consider this as personal and intellectual growth and vibrant professional development. If you want to be an academician in the future, researching and writing publications are your venues to grow with your professions. That's the only way. So if you want to grow with your professions, then you have to do research and prepare publications. You have to get published. Kalau nggak gitu, nggak berkembang memang dosen itu. Okay. And then what skills do you need to develop as a seasoned researcher? There are a lot of skills we have to develop as a seasoned researcher. In the meantime, to complete your master's degree, so to earn your degree in this study program, so you need to develop these characteristics. So critical evaluation of journal profiles, critical navigating, critical extensive reading, critical academic reading, critical academic writing, research methodology in actions, time and writing management, writing to correspond with editors, yeah? Responding to editors and reviewers' feedbacks or comments. Yeah? So these are some of skills you have to develop in this study program so that you will be able to do your own research, yeah? And you will complete your thesis on time. Yeah. First, critical evaluations of journal profiles and critical navigating. Yeah, so you must have skills for navigating credible references. Yeah? You must be able to evaluate the credibility and the credibility of journal articles, the journals, yeah, or the references that you have selected, yeah? Whether, for example, a paper is published in a reputable or in a abal-abal journal, or perhaps fake journals. Yeah, the journals, the credibility is not clear. The publisher is unclear. Yeah, so you need to understand which publisher publishes the journal articles, yeah, and so on. So critical evaluations of the profiles of journals and critical navigating. Then you only have to navigate credible references from credible databases. Yeah? Otherwise, you will be trapped in predatory journals or fake journals. Yeah? And then critical extensive reading, yeah, critical academic reading, critical academic writing. So the keyword here is critical. Yeah. So critical. So there should be what? The cognitive activities, yeah, that you will and have experience in this study program should be accelerated. Yeah? There should be what? There should be an improvement of your cognitive activities. Yeah? There should be differences from your undergrad study and your master's study. Yeah, ya itu. So what makes it different? Ya itu tadi critical cognitive activities. So when you read, you have to be critically reading. When you write, you have to be critically writing. Yeah, and critical extensive reading. So basically, you will do wide reading and close reading. Yeah, wide reading, you need to portray the big picture of research area you are working on. And then close reading, you need to understand specific details, yeah, offered in the body of knowledge, yeah, in your research area. So say, for example, you are interested in exploring reflective teaching practice, for example, then you must understand the landscape of this research area, the landscape of theories, concepts, and previous studies, yeah, underlying reflective teaching practice, ya. Jadi harus tahu siapa ketua sukunya, pembantu ketua suku, kemudian rakyat jelata. So you have to understand the members of your community of research. Yeah? So when we do a research, then we actually embrace a particular community of research. And you have to understand the members of your community. Yeah. So that's why navigating credible references from credible databases is very important, because the editors of international journals will check your references, yeah? Whether you have cited the right people in their field or not. Yeah? Who you have cited, yeah? and then they will check the names in your in-text citations and in your references. Yeah, if those names are not people who work on this particular research area, then there is a predictions, there is a high chance that you do not cite the right people. Ya, nggak jelas siapa yang disitasi. Ya, terutama kalau mensitasi nama-nama Indonesia, ya dipastikan bahwa nama-nama Indonesia yang disitasi itu peneliti-peneliti yang memang track recordnya di bidang itu. Jelas gitu, siapa, who are the authors of these articles. Track recordnya apa, punya publikasi yang konsisten di bidang itu apa enggak. Do you think that the editors will check that much, that far? Do you think that the editors of a particular journal will check your references that far?
Yes, ma'am.
Mungkin Anda heran kenapa capek-capek gitu ya editornya ngecek siapa nih penulisnya, terus dicek kayak apa referensinya. Ya, iya memang begitu. Itu the first screening. The first screening is that the editors will check the sufficiency of your references. Justru itu yang dicek pertama kali. They will not bother themselves. They will not waste their time by reading your paper. Cukup dilihat judul terus referensinya apa. Gitu. Nah, kalau banyak referensi yang meleset ya, oh this is not relevant, this is not relevant, this research article is not about this. Nah itu udah berarti there is a high chance that you have cited wrong people, wrong scholars gitu ya, atau wrong references. Okay, then next critical academic writing we will learn later on ya, how to combine informations. So when you write, you need to combine several different voices. Yeah, which ones are your voices? Which ones are other scholars' voices? Which ones are experts' voices? Yeah, and so on. Jadi harus tahu, then you need to be able to structure those different voices in your piece of writing. Yeah. And then research methodology in actions, you need to learn the applications of research methodology so that you will be familiar with several types of research designs. Ya. Jadi research methodology in actions itu sebenarnya research design. Ya. Kalau di manuskrip jurnal-jurnal penelitian ya di international journal itu dinamakan research method atau research design. Kalau di jurnal-jurnal itu ya, how do they name it? Ya, do they name it research method or research design? Di bagian method itu ya. Methodological novelty gitu ya. A methodological sophistication. Jadi ada sofistikasi dari desain penelitian kita yang kita tawarkan sehingga people will learn this methodological novelty from our article so much. So it the manuscript inspires people. Jadi kalau ada unsur seperti ini ya ini potential to be published gitu ya. And then time and writing management. So you have to set up your own time for reading and writing, specific time for reading and writing. So you cannot write if you don't read. Yeah, can you write if you don't read?
Not at all.
Yeah, it's impossible. Yeah, so your nutrition for writing is reading. There is no other way out. Ya, mati gaya kalau nggak baca. Mau nulis apa? Ya. Then you need to read a lot. You need to understand what you have read, ya? And develop your own comprehensions, your own understanding, and you have to design different voices in your pieces of paragraph, yeah, so that everything will be your original masterpiece. Ya, itu writing itu begitu. Jadi writing itu jadi menulis publications itu bukan describing things, ya, bukan summarizing things. So the keywords are analyzing, comparing, contrasting, evaluating, synthesizing, and finally writing. Kata kuncinya itu. Describing, presenting, itu 30%-an aja lah, boleh. Okay, sometimes you have to describe, fine. But in most cases, you have to and you have to argue, yeah, you have to compare, you have to contrast, you have to evaluate, yeah, and finally you have to argue. Arguments. So what are your arguments? Yeah, so these are cognitive activities you have to do in preparing publications, yeah. And then writing to correspond with editors. Okay, so when you submit your manuscript, you have to write a cover letter, a letter to the editor, ya. Bukan surat cinta, ini surat. Kenapa sih? Why your manuscript is important to get published? Ya? Why your manuscript is worth publishing? Yeah. So what is the novelty you offer in your manuscript? Yeah, why your manuscript is worth reading, and so on. So basically, that's the essential informations you have to write for the editors. And then when the editors have replied your submissions, then you have to respond to the editor's letter. Ya, apa yang diminta yaitu diberikan. Ya. Reviewnya kayak apa? Then you have to address the reviews, yeah, the results of the review in your revisions, in your revised manuscript. And then responding to editors and reviewers' feedback or comments, itu juga gitu ya. So you have to understand the editors' comments, the editors' feedback very well, and accommodate those feedback comments in your publications, in your manuscript. And then later on, when you write a letter to the editors, you have to tell them in what ways you have responded to the reviewers' feedback or comments, in what ways you have accommodated the editors, the reviewers' comments or feedback. Ya. Saya ada sih contoh feedback dari reviewer ya. Ya ini paper saya belum keterima sih, masih harus diperbaiki gitu ya. Sebentar, let me check. Oke. Saya kasih contohnya aja, I'll share to you. Kalau filenya di komputer lain, but let me see. Sebentar ya, let me check. Mana ya? Okay.
Excuse me, ma'am, is it possible to record the meeting?
Oh yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Okay, Oke, coba saya perlihatkan bentar, cuman contoh aja ya. Feedback dari action research atau narrative case study misalnya. So this is the combinations of narrative inquiry and case study. Yeah. So how can we blend two methods into one so that this blend will be a particular research design? Ya, bisa. Nah, itu sebabnya kita harus belajar dari research articles atau previous studies ya, which apply a particular hybrid research design. Ya, tapi banyak juga yang masih satu-satu, misalnya case study aja, participatory action research ya itu aja, atau design based research ya itu aja. Right. And then yeah, other things you have to keep in your mind is this, yeah, readers as lifelong learners. Then we need to be passionate, yeah, with our research, with what you are reading, and with what you are writing. So reading and writing to learn, basically. So you need to view reading and writing activities as your venues to learn. And then you must develop your perseverance, mentorship, consultations, co-authorship with experienced writers. Yeah. It is recommended for novice writers to co-author with experienced writers, more experienced writers. Yeah, so that there is mentorship, yeah, there is consultations, there is a co-authorship, yeah, among you and your co-authors. You can learn from those experienced writers. So this can be your research, but your manuscript can be supported by other experienced writers. Mungkin ngajak siapa gitu, and then they can contribute to shape the quality of your paper. Ya, misalnya kayak paper saya tadi tuh yang saya submit di higher education, ya. Actually, I have 3 other colleagues, yeah. So 4 of us, yeah. So there are 4 authors actually, but currently I requested some review from my other colleague, yeah, in other university. Saya minta dia feedback, dia komen gitu. Tolong dicermati gitu. Sebenarnya what is missing in our paper. So I'm seeking for other second opinions, other second comments gitu ya. Karena kok dari kami berempat kayaknya udah mentok ini, this is the best we can do in revising our paper. Ya, tapi terus this colleague said, I think one thing is still missing gitu ya. This is the most important thing. Jadi we need to add one conceptual framework to interpret the data. Ya, jadi alur penyajian data kualitatifnya itu harus ada parameter konsep atau teorinya. Di overall story sudah ada parameter teorinya, tapi untuk alurnya itu belum ada semacam wadahnya gitu, masih belum. Ini alur ceritanya gimana toh? Kualitatif data itu sebenarnya harus ada ceritanya. So the findings are not random ya. The findings cannot be presented in random. So you should get the flow of the story of the qualitative data. Nah itu kompleksitas dari penelitian kualitatif tuh gitu. Ya, who said qualitative research is easier than quantitative research? Nggak ada yang mudah. So each paradigm has their own complexities ya. Penelitian kualitatif itu kompleksitasnya ada pada manajemen datanya, ada pada interpretasi datanya, ada pada pemilihan pisau analisa datanya. Jadi instrumennya itu di penelitinya sendiri. So how you interpret the data will depend on how critical you are, gitu ya. Whether you have a critical analytical tool to interpret your data. Kalau nggak punya analytical toolnya nggak kritis, datanya itu it doesn't mean anything, biasa-biasa aja datanya itu, so what gitu datanya itu. Tapi kalau misalnya analisanya, pisau analisanya kuat, itu data yang kayaknya biasa-biasa aja tuh kelihatan, oh ternyata begini ya, ternyata tuh begini gitu. Ini fenomena ini tuh udah biasa, udah kita hadapi sehari-hari, but it means something ya when you are able to present this data within a particular theoretical and conceptual perspectives ya. So, Oke, saya kasih contoh misalnya paper yang saya omongkan tuh ini ya, contohnya sebentar. Sebentar. Maaf, salah. Sudah? Sudah kelihatan papernya? Oke. Nah ini ya, ini judulnya seperti ini. Indonesia's International Doctoral Students Negotiations of Knowledge Productions ya, whose voices are legitimized ya. Okay, so the findings revealed that two main supervisory styles, yeah, co-constructed and superior or dominating ones, yeah, determined the nature of negotiations of knowledge and showed whose legitimized voices were accommodated in doctoral supervisions. Yeah. The findings suggest that socioculturally constructed doctoral supervisions and power relations need to be better addressed in the negotiations of knowledge productions in doctoral supervisions. Ya. Kita lihat alur datanya ya. Alur datanya itu ya oke sih kayak belum greget gitu ya. Misalnya ini ada process of negotiations of knowledge ya. Dan to represent two supervisory styles ini kami ngambil dari datanya ya. Misalnya we have totally different perceptions or understanding about my research versus I see those opportunities as his countless support for me to expand my knowledge, my horizon. Nah ini, jadi process of negotiations of knowledge. Kemudian di sini ada, ini datanya photo voice ya, supervisory style. Terus ada doctoral students expectations ya, dan doctoral students attitudes and reflections. Jadi emang kurang greget gitu. Dibandingkan dengan misalnya ini ya, saya kasih contoh. Tapi ini belum dikirim ya, belum. Cuman contoh aja bahwa ini memang beda gitu. Sebentar ya, tadi itu. Nah, oke lah. I don't know. Ini komputer saya hari ini agak membingungkan ya. Tadi, oh ini udah oke. Tadi pagi buat ngajar itu tiba-tiba slide saya nggak bisa dibuka, Words juga nggak bisa dibuka, terus kadang PDF nggak bisa dibuka. Tapi ini oke bisa, alhamdulillah. Oh ini bisa juga. Aduh, ini kenapa ini? Oke, alright. Oke, yang kelihatan apa ya? Nah ini ya, narrative inquiry into ini sudah disubmit tapi belum oke lah, belum tahu keterima apa enggak ya. Nah, ini coba kita lihat datanya, analisa datanya. Oke, abstraknya dulu ya, nih ya. Nih, nih ya, the results of the analysis following Connelly and Glandinin's 2006 lines of storying and Leaf and Wenger's situated learning theory suggests that the participant experience a flux dynamic and negotiated multiple identities in the community of practice participations. The findings signal changing phenomena in doctoral educations. Ini sama-sama tentang doctoral educations ya. Doctoral educations and an evolving participations influenced by context-dependent complexities during the doctoral study. Implications from the study are discussed in the paper. Oke, kita lihat datanya, bunyinya. Itu biasa-biasa aja, tapi karena analisa pisaunya tuh kelihatan ya, jadi, nah ini ya. Findings of the study are informed by three-dimensional spaces of narrative inquiry by Connelly and Glandinin's ya, by backward and forward lines of storying. Jadi story-nya, jadi alur dari presentasi datanya itu diatur menurut teorinya ini ya, Connelly and Glandinin's 2006 ya, dan juga the findings reflect the elements of three-dimensional narrative inquiry spaces, namely, bla bla bla. Intinya Connelly and Glandinin ya, backward and forward lines of storying. Ini narrative inquiry. Nah ini judulnya datanya itu dikasih tema ya, tema. The findings reflect the elements of three-dimensional narrative inquiry spaces, namely temporality, interactions, and situations, ya, which has been thematically coded following Brown and Clark. Jadi emang udah kelihatan matang ini analisa datanya. Ini ya, the changing identity from a situated collegial relationship, minimal knowledge, awareness, and domestic responsibilities. Ini tuh potret banget mahasiswa S3 di Indonesia. Jadi potret S3 di Indonesia tuh sebenarnya di luar negeri juga ada gitu juga sih ya. Tapi enggak juga sih, karena di Indonesia itu unik ya. Di Indonesia itu ada status izin belajar itu ya. Jadi kalau kita mahasiswa doktoral itu ya di UNY misalnya, banyak yang izin belajar. Izin belajar itu artinya ya masih kerja, ya masih ngajar, masih bimbing tesis, skripsi, tapi juga sekolah at the same time. Masih ada tugas tanggung jawab domestik ya, ibu-ibu, bapak-bapak. Domestic responsibilities. So you can imagine the juggling patterns of Indonesian doctoral students itu unbelievable. Kalau di luar negeri paling 2, kalau di sini mungkin bisa 5-6 variabel. Ya, tugas ngajar, meneliti, nulis, bimbing, ya kalau rata-rata dosen kan gitu. Terus domestic affairs, terus tugas tambahan, jadi panitia ini itu, jadi ketua ini itu, jadi korprodi apa, jadi macam-macam. Unbelievable. Oke, kalau luar negeri paling 2 variabel, domestik aja sama kuliah, wis itu tok. Ya. Nah, ini jadi the changing identity ya, from a situated collegial relationship, minimal knowledge awareness and domestic responsibilities. Jadi minimal knowledge awareness tuh kayak gitu, masuk ke program dokter itu dengan blindfold gitu ya, blindfold. Don't know what they are doing gitu. Pokoknya S3 aja. Sebenarnya masuk S3 itu apa sih? Why do you want to pursue your doctoral study? Ya, modalnya tekad, semangat, motivasi. Cukup nggak? Ya, nggak cukup ya. Terkaget-kaget nanti. Ada academic culture shock. Ya, kalau tough bisa bangkit dan jalan lagi. Kalau nggak tough, tenggelam, akhirnya nggak bangkit-bangkit. Ya, that is going to happen in a doctor study. So you need to be tough, and you need to be, you need to inform, you need to get informed ya. Harus masuk itu paling nggak ada bekal knowledge sedikit-sedikit lah. S3 itu apa, disertasi itu apa, ya punya bekal ilmu publikasi ya, punya bekal menulis tesis yang benar gitu ya. Literature review udah tahu, paham gimana menyiapkan literature review, cari referensi yang relevan sudah tahu, credible databases udah tahu gitu loh. Kalau semuanya belum tahu lah terus gimana S3 ya. Oke. Alright. Ya. Siapa di telepon? Oke. Alright, saya lanjutkan lagi. Selanjutnya. Ya. Nah, ini next. Alright, informed decision making, where to publish. So, when we want to submit our manuscript, then we need to get ourselves some information. So it means that our decision making should be informed. You should know the journal you are going to go, the target journalnya apa. So you need to find out, for example, the publishers published these journals, and then you should know the editorial board. You should know how many times in a year this journal has its own publications, how many issues published in 1 year. If one journal publishes 2 or 3 times, or okay, maybe more than 3 times in a year, that's not a good journal ya. Too many volumes. Misalnya dalam setahun 10, 8 kali menerbitkan itu baik ya. Sometimes this journal belongs to a predatory journal. So they do not really care with the quality of the journal articles. They will only care with the money that you have to pay for submitting your manuscript. Jadi mereka charging you with APC, APC itu publication charge ya, submissions, basically submissions charge, submissions publication charge. Ya kalau some journals charge you misalnya sekitar $350 atau $400. I think that's still okay ya. Some journals charge you and they are fine journals. Yeah, only that some journals are predatory journals and they charge you very expensively. Misalnya bisa $2,000 atau €2,000 ya, almost 20 millions. Itu buat apa? Ya. So just forget this journal and find others. Yeah. And then quality of published articles. So you can just check the published articles in the journal. So you can download some good articles which may support your own manuscript. and see whether those articles are qualified or not. Jadi bisa dilihat dari kerapian layoutnya, formatnya itu bisa ketahuan ini jurnal yang beneran atau abal-abal gitu ya. And then indexing ya, so this is very important. You must get the informations about the indexing systemnya, which indexing system indexes this journal. Minimal Scopus index journal ya. So minimum you have to get published in a Scopus index. Atau kalau S2 cukup Sinta 1, Sinta 2 bisa ya, for your own graduations, for your own completions of your study, you have to publish in a Sinta index journal, ya, Sinta 2 or Sinta 1 index journal. Ya, Sinta itu jurnal indeks nasional ya, indexed by in ministry, the Ministry of National Education and Culture. And then open access options. Oh wow, this is also very expensive. Open access options. If you have money, yeah, you may go to these options. Kalau dosen biasanya ada dana penelitian. Kalau dana penelitiannya cukup, ya okay. But usually, personally, I avoid to publish in an open access options because it's just too expensive ya. Biasanya minimal tuh 20 juta ya, open access options. 20 millions, yes. Euro atau dollars, US dollars itu sama aja. Intinya tetap mahal. And then complimentary copy, okay. So a good journal will send you a complimentary copy, yeah, if your manuscript is published in the journal. And then solicited contributions, yeah, if you publish in a good journal, then your contributions will be recognized by, of course, international leadership. Yeah, the international as well as national leadership will recognize your contributions because the manuscript has been published in a good journal, yeah, in a credible journal. Right, and then there are several journals we should be familiar in our field, yeah. So English language educations, yeah. Our field is English language educations, and there are several regional journals which are good, yeah, such as English Today, Journal of Education for Teaching, Innovations in Language Learning and Teaching, RELC Journal, TESOL Journal, the Indonesian Journal of Applied Linguistics, the Journal of Asia TEVL, the Reading Teacher, Visual Communications there. So these journals are familiar journals in our field, and most of them are in the regional level. Jadi masih Asia Tenggara, ini nggak apa-apa. Kita bisa tembus di level Asia Tenggara aja udah bagus ya. Ya, sebelum sampai ke international journal semacam higher educations atau mungkin TESOL journal or mungkin English language teaching journal, itu sudah kelas kakap ya, maksudnya udah kelas internasional banget. RELC journal aja itu nggak mudah, very tough. Ya, ini jurnal di Singapura ya, Singaporean, so the home base is in Singapore. TESOL Journal Asia TEVL itu di Korea, ini managed by Asia TEVL associations ya. The teaching associations ya, ini Asia TEVL. TEVLIN juga ya, selain Indonesian Journal of Applied Linguistics, kita juga TEVLIN Journal. This is also a good journal as well. Banyak juga misalnya dari Thailand, misalnya PASA Journal, PASA terus apa lagi ya, ya itu juga some journals from Thailand, from Philippines ya. They are also the review is quite tough as well. Jadi jangan meremehkan jurnal dari kawasan Southeast Asian karena the peer review process is also quite tough. Yeah. Right, then we can check the credibility of the target journal in this website, yeah, Simago. So Simago is a website for checking the rank of the journal. So this is only for Scopus Index journals. Yeah? If you want to check Scopus Index journals, apa aja macam-macamnya, terus statusnya gimana, apakah Q1, Q2, Q3, yeah. So then you can check the status of the journals in this website, Simago. Ya, misalnya, let's see ya, misalnya, right, coba saya buka Simago. Sudah pernah cek websitenya belum? Ya, misalnya ini ya. Oke, coba cek Journal Indonesian's Journal of Applied Linguistics. Nah, ini ya. Oh, sorry, tadi salah ketik. Oh, no. Nah, ini ya. Indonesian Journal of Applied Linguistics. We can check. This is the SGR portal. Ini 0.28 and it belongs to Q2 journal. Q2. Jadi Q2 SGR 0.28 itu udah bagus ya di bidang social science, language, social sciences, humanity kayak gitu tuh udah bagus ya. Jadi kita bisa cek indeksnya. Ya kalau ini ya. Ya ini tahun 2020. Nah ini masih Q2 ya statusnya. Sekarang 2022 belum muncul di sini ya, tapi statusnya masih Q2 juga. Ya. Alright, itu contohnya checking the journal appraisal. Ya. Ya. Okay, next. Yeah, you can also check the appraisal of the target journals in other websites ya, seperti di Scopus Preview. Ya, di Scopus Preview juga ada. Sudah pernah cek di Scopus Preview. Jadi kalau mau ngecek jurnalnya itu jurnal Scopus beneran atau Scopus abal-abal, itu cek di Scopus Preview. Kalau muncul di Scopus Preview, itu berarti jurnalnya masih di indeks oleh Scopus ya. Tapi kalau sudah nggak di indeks oleh Scopus, itu nggak ada, namanya nggak muncul ya. Oke, misalnya this one. Ya, ini ya. Ya, misalnya kita mau ngecek statusnya itu tadi ya. Misalnya statusnya hijau tadi ya. Nah, ini misalnya Indonesian Journal of Applied Linguistics. Nah, ini okay, perhaps I should sign in. Passwordnya apa ya? Lupa. Oke. Ini biasanya ada di komputer saya satunya, ini jadi passwordnya belum kesimpan ya. Biasa ini, kebiasaan jelek. Kok nggak muncul ya? Bentar. Biasanya nggak usah pakai sign in bisa. Oke. Right. Oh, title ya. Ketik lagi. Nation Journal. Oke. Nah ini. Oke, ya. Nah ini muncul kan? Muncul. Nah, kita bisa lihat. Oh, masih Scopus coverage ya. Dari tahun 2011 sampai 2021 dan Scopus will evaluate the status of each journal per year and the result of the evaluations will come up in July or August. Jadi tahun 2002 ini belum muncul untuk IJAL, tapi masih terindeks Scopus ya, masih terindeks Scopus. Nah itu contoh ngeceknya ya. Kalau jurnalnya itu nggak muncul di sini berarti Scopus. Jadi itu pura-pura terindeks Scopus. Sekarang banyak jurnal fake journal ya, seakan-akan indeks Scopus index journal, but it is not indexed by Scopus ya. So you should be very careful. Ya oke. Terus ini kalau mau cek high quality journals ya, only journals which are indexed by SSCI. Kita SSCI ya karena social science ya, social science. Terus Web of Science juga, you may check the appraisal of journals in Web of Science, but Web of Science itu sudah kategorinya high quality journals ya, indexed by SSCI. Scopus Index Journals itu nggak masuk Web of Science, terlalu amatir. Maksudnya gitu, Scopus itu liga paling bawah ya, Scopus itu liga paling bawah. Di atasnya ada Web of Science, ada SSCI gitu ya. Okay, and Indonesia still requires academicians to publish in Scopus Index journals. So then actually the requirement is still quite minimum, yeah, based on an international standard, yeah. Okay, and then you can also check in this website, yeah. All right, so this is these websites for checking the quality of your target journals. And then types of referred journal articles, yeah. We will not learn all of this in our course, yeah. We only focus on the first type only, or paper or research-based paper. And there are some other types of articles, yeah. They are textual research paper, positions or review or conceptual paper, meta-analysis or systematic review paper, brief report, short communications, best practice or classroom or teaching tip paper, ya itu. Then visual essay, commentary or reader's response paper, book review paper, and so on. Yeah, so these types of articles exist in international journals. Yeah, and then we need to check the aims and scope of your target journal. Yeah, if you want to submit your manuscript, then you have to check the aims and the scope of the journal, whether your research area belongs to the aims and scope of your target journal. Jadi misalnya kayak tadi, manuskrip saya tadi masuk di area higher educations ya, karena terkait dengan supervisions, doctoral supervisions ya, and then it belongs to management, higher education's management. Then I should submit to a journal